pain of becoming a widow is intense, incredibly so, and difficult and a long process to work through. It's not something to do alone. Losing her husband, Herbert, in 2012 left Sabra Robinson with those feelings and so much more, probably. She tried support groups for women. They didn't quite, they didn't quite meet her needs as a Black woman. So she started a nonprofit and a Facebook group for Black women widows to come together to support, empower, and pray, creating a safe place for these women of color to find fellowship and a whole lot more. That beautiful individual, Sabra Robinson, is here to talk to me about Black widow women's empowerment and the work she's doing. Sabra, this says a lot about you, that in your effort to find what you needed, you created your own space.
Yes, I did. I had to, because there's nothing out there that catered me.
So you said that you had noticed that there were sort of unique circumstances to being a Black widow that weren't necessarily being addressed in the support groups that you were finding online. Well, give us an example of what you were experiencing.
Yeah, I would post things that, you know, I was in widow groups that were basically Caucasian. At that time, there were not, I don't think, any groups that catered to the Black widow. And so when I would post things, it just wouldn't get the, let's put it this way, I would post things that I feel that would garner any attention, basically, as it related to what I'm going through as a Black woman. I felt as if I had to, you know, post things that were more towards grief, that was, you know, the generalized posting in grief groups or groups for loss that, you know, that I couldn't do that.
Right.
And I needed a space that catered to me, that could understand my link, what I'm going through as a Black woman, losing my husband,
yeah,
you know, and yeah, that's why I created it.
Well, and it has ended up being this really important force for so many people. And what's really interesting, I understand, and thanks for pushing through the technological hurdles, we have them, right, is that because of COVID, right, we saw a lot of women. We know how COVID has affected Black and brown families more and taken so many lives in our communities. You said that it was a really interesting thing to see that the women who had lost their husbands early part of the pandemic have been a real source of comfort to the new widows that have just lost their loved ones. Yeah,
it was so sad, you know. When it first happened, there were several, I kept getting all of these requests from widows, okay? And then, usually not unusual, but just more than average. And then I would find out when they would introduce themselves, I'm a COVID widow, my husband died from COVID. And I would, you know, I was like, gosh, this is just heart-wrenching. And so the widows they would just drop in the comments, hey, we're here for you. We can't say that we know what you're going through because we haven't lost a spouse through, you know, as a result of COVID, but we're here for you. And so the meaning of the group, that's the purpose of the group, is to support one another.
Yeah. No
matter if you can relate.
Well, we have tried so hard to get this technology working on side for us, and it is very difficult. What I would like to do is point people to this website. If you go to Facebook and you look up Black Women Widows Empowered, you can find the group. Maybe it'll feel right for you, because that's exactly what Sabra was saying, is that it didn't feel right for her. She's written several books that we want to tell you about too. You can get Widowed But Not Wounded and The Hustle and Flow of 13 Resilient Black Widowed Women. You can find both of those books, or that book rather, on Amazon.com. And there's the website right there, blackwomenwidowsempowered.com. Look, everybody deals with grief differently, and everybody's going to respond to different things. And Sabra created this space for people that needed the same kind of things as she did. Sabra, thank you for joining to tell us about it.
Thank you.
Proud of you, and send you all sorts of love. And thank you for doing this tremendous work.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back.
John went into the hospital for a simple